and been together for a few years. Why has it changed again?
Haven't we?
I think you've brushed the last one.
Was it the last one? I brushed it. Yeah, it was my fault. I can't remember. I thought we were together not long ago.
We
I thought we did one last year.
Yeah, a couple of years.
We're okay. We're back together. One last time.
How did Connor train?
He hasn't.
He hasn't yet.
No, we're training tonight. We expect him to train tonight and see how he goes. If there's any risk, we won't play him. It's just no point in putting someone at risk, and you know he's got a crack in his hand, so it's pretty significant. So he's hopeful yesterday, but that doesn't mean he'll get through. So he might be there or he might not be there.
Thanks.
You said one last time, Ken. How do you feel going into your final showdown week?
Yeah, look, showdowns they've been a special part of my journey, clearly, and to have been a part of so many, I'm really lucky. I've had some great memories, some not so great memories, but that's the great thing about showdowns. I won't miss showdowns, because as much as everyone says that they're good for the state, they're not so good for the coaches or the players. There's a bit of heat on them, and we look forward to having one last crack together.
Why won't you miss them?
Why won't I miss them? Because you got to win or you got to lose, and that's what I won't miss. You know, the record's so close, and we never want to lose to them. Like, that doesn't change, and they never want to lose to us. But when you lose in this town, in a showdown, it's a little bit different. You drive in dark at night, so you get into the club. You don't go out in daylight when you lose.
Is there a highlight though, Ken, when you look back? Is there a showdown memory that
It'd be unfair, really. Unfair. There's been so many, good or bad. You know, clearly early days, the bounce was amazing for me. The Dawson goal wasn't so amazing for me. You know, there's all those things. There's just so many, and both of us would share, whether Matthew was with us or not, or now he's against. We both share so many great memories, and everyone in South Australia share great memories of showdowns.
What's it been like coaching against him, Matthew, having also worked with him?
That's been good. It's been great. The challenge of going up against a side that have been historically have had our measure since I moved across. Obviously, Ken's had a lot of success along the journey, and I learned a hell of a lot from him. So going up against him, and we know our players are the ones who play it, but you know, you go up against a person who you learnt so much from. I enjoyed the challenge that came with that. I've probably been in more showdowns with you than against him, if you go back over the amount of showdowns we've had. So
yeah, I reckon there would be.
6 odd years or thereabouts.
One of those famous showdowns was the Stephen Gotloff goal right at the end.
Oh.
Ken, I think, flashed up these 05 in a sort of famous...
Remember, we'd lost 5 in a row.
Yeah.
You know, Rory Atkins, we showed that in our last show, because he was actually playing for the Crows in that incident, and there was 2 Crows boys clashed together when Mott's picked it up. So 5-0.
I just wondered, did you remember being in the box with him at that time and cracking a smile?
You were in that
and
game.
laugh
Yeah,
at that?
Yeah, I remember. I
Tell the truth.
obviously remember most of them. As you mentioned before, even the Gussie sideways bounce, I was in the box that day too. I actually might have been doing the running. I might have been a runner back then.
We must have been
I
out of
remember.
runners.
I remember most of the showdowns there. I think most South Australians do. It's why it's such a special weekend, and it's a unique one. It's it's a big occasion. It's a moment that you got to embrace. It is a different game for whatever reason. There's a passion towards it that you don't get in many other games. Obviously, finals footy, it sort of turns into those sort of games, and most of them have been close. Most of them have been decided by a kick or two. I've got no doubt this game will be a ripper coming up as well.
Did you have a chuckle when he did the gesture?
We're going back to that one. I thought I answered that perfectly by not answering.
He would tell me
No, I
to sit
didn't.
down.
I probably did tell you to sit down, didn't I? But
Yeah.
who knows? We had a lot of conversations.
I have a few problems with those things.
You've got a pretty big forward line, Ken. Do you need to bring in another big guy to match schedules?
If his hamstring wasn't stitched back on, we probably would. But no, probably not. You know, I don't think we've got necessarily another tall that we'd bring in to cater for what they've got. You know, what they've got, we know. We've been lucky. We've had Lockie being able to play reasonably tall at different times. Obviously, Asava and Thatch can play tall, but pressure on the ball is what's going to make any difference to their talls, because their talls are, look, they've had a great year, let's be honest. There's no messing around with that. They've been a very, very good footy team all year.
Ken, are you allowing yourself to reflect and enjoy these final 5 weeks of the farewell tour?
I wouldn't say enjoy. I think looking back to last week and going forward, I think we had 6 to go or something, 5 against the top 6. You know, it wasn't something you were going to enjoy, I don't think. I'd love us to have a couple of great wins in us. I'd love us to play some really good, strong footy, and that's what I'll enjoy. I'll still enjoy the want to win with the boys, and that will all be there right to the very, very end, and that's what I look forward to. I don't enjoy a tour about anything to do with me, to be honest. The sooner I'm disappeared, the better.
Do you feel like the group's got a couple of those upsets on that group?
We're going to do our best. We're absolutely going to do our best. We've got no guarantees, but we're going to do our best to try and do that. I mean, as I said, the quality of the opponents we come up against, we'll have a fair bit to say in that, but, our best sometimes has been very, very good, and, don't give us a sniff. Don't give us a sniff.
How seriously should the Crows be taken as a legitimate final flag contender now?
Without pumping them up too much, 'cause that's not something Port tend to do. They're the form team of the competition. They've had an unbelievable run. I think, 8 or 10 of the last 12, hasn't lost by a couple of points in the couple we've lost. To me, they're favourites to finish on top, and I think that's right.
But what would it mean, Ken, for your last showdown memory to be a positive one?
Oh, I mean, not so much any more than any other time in the showdown, because I said they all mean they're special events, but I like to win every game. I don't care whether it's a showdown or whether it's a game down in Launceston or a game up in Canberra where we've been this year. I just like to win. It's an ingredient you have to be a coach.
Nicks, in the last sort of 5 years, particularly in your spell, ladder-wise, Port have had the upper hand, but results have been almost in your favour or pretty even. What do you think, how do you approach it differently as an underdog going into a showdown compared to now, a situation where you would be the favourite?
We don't. So you mentioned it, results have been really even since the last 5 or 6 years. And we won't approach this game any differently to what we've done all season. And that's, we've mentioned it's been our strength this year, has been able to stay focused on the now, on the moment. This is just a bigger moment. We'll acknowledge the moment. We'll actually enjoy the stage that it'll be, it'll be the spectacle. It's going to be a big game, Saturday night. In Adelaide, doesn't get much bigger than that, but it won't change the way we prepare.
Is this the perfect pre-test for a potential finals campaign? It doesn't really get much closer to a final than a showdown. Is this the perfect test for a side that hasn't got any finals experience?
Yeah, well, I think we know. If you look back on the history of the game, we know what's coming. We know that it'll be a red-hot game. It's often talked about in the post-game as that was finals-like footy. There's not many showdowns that haven't been, so from our point of view, it's perfect. We want to play in the hardest possible games we can and test ourselves, and it won't be any harder than this. Yeah, Hingy's got to train tonight still, so we're similar to Ken and the group. We still train after this out on AO. He's pretty confident, though, chatting to him this morning, that he's pulled up quite well. And that'll be a bonus if he does, because he played 15 minutes or thereabouts. So slightly fresher Mitch Hinge will be a good thing for us. We had a couple of other guys who were a little bruised and battered, but we're pretty confident most will get themselves up.
Nixie, does Cook make it?
Sort of flirt with your form. I guess that carries into selection philosophy for the next month or so for you, to be honest.
We'll continue to look at the squad that we have, and we've got some guys still pushing for selection at the moment. We've got some guys playing their best footy at SANFL level that, if the timing's right for the team and we feel it'll make us stronger, then they'll get their opportunity, and that'll depend on Mitch, for example. If Mitch isn't quite right, we won't take a risk with him. We want to take in a team that are 100% or close to it and ready to go, especially into a showdown.
Cook had earned himself a spot, Nixie, and then obviously went out for concussion a couple of weeks ago. Does he get his spot back this week?
Yeah, that's something we'll discuss post the session and see how guys go through the training session. But he deserves it, the opportunity he had a week or so ago before being knocked out. But he's recovered really well. Feels fantastic. He's in my office already, knocking on the door and saying, "Hey, I'm ready." So I guess that's the position we're in, that we're benefiting from at the moment. His guys are ready to go, and we believe they're AFL ready. It's nice to have that pressure from below.
And at full fitness, is Matt Crouch still in the best 23?
I think Matt Crouch at his best is one of the best midfielders in the competition at his best. Matty's been back for a very short period of time and he's got more footy to play. I think Matt knows that as well. But it was a great start from him. Not just his footy, just the guys that played with him at West Adelaide, just what he brings to the, as far as the leadership on field and how clean he is with the ball already. But he needs a little bit more footy before he starts knocking on the door.
Could that be a nice little X factor in September if you finish in a high enough spot and then be able to bring in a freshman?
Oh, it would be fantastic to add even more depth and that experience that Matt brings, and we know at his best, he's, as I mentioned before, he's right up there as far as midfielders in the competition.
In terms of knocking on your door, have you had a Ram or a Whitlock maybe after their performance in the Sandfloor? And would that be one of your great joys to be one of those guys at debut before you finish up?
Yeah, I think there's patience required regardless of your list position. I mean, we obviously have a lot of injury at the moment, and that's unfortunate. But there's also patience required for particularly tall forwards or tall backs. Both boys played really well last week. I won't say we wouldn't pick one of them this week, but it'd be unlikely.
Really?
Unlikely.
In terms of injuries, Ken, I mean, this time of year everyone's hurting and that sort of stuff, but I understand a few players that are going to require surgery.
Their list is looking all right.
including Miles Berger, who's going to need surgery at some point. How many of your guys are sort of limping to the finish line? At some point?
Well, we've had a long season. Every club does, and we've got some players who will obviously need some attention at the end of the season. Like every club, even the Crows will have some players at the end of the year who will need some attention, and ours will just get their attention a bit earlier.
So there are a few you might need to shut down before the end of the year?
Sorry?
There's a few you might need to shut down before the end of the year?
If it gives us our best chance to be in best shape for the next season, absolutely we would do that.
What's impressed you most about Dan Curtin this year, Matt?
I think for such a young player to develop as fast as he has and show that, probably the standout for mine has been key moments. I think he stood up in really big moments, which, that's unique for such a young player to be able to do that. He's still got so much more that he's working through and a lot more in his game that he's going to improve on. But when you need a big moment and you need a player to win a contest, he's shown that multiple times over the last couple of months.
How do you see how the Crows being placed for the flag, or the finals and the flag this year?
It's not even something that has crossed our mind. As I've said to you, we're locked in.
You're third place at the moment, so
I appreciate you letting us know.
You've got to be seen as one of the favourites.
I think the position we're in is off the back of us not looking at any of that. The reality is it's there and it's noise, and we're just locked in. So we're looking at Ken and his group at this point, trying to work through how do we continue the form we're in. It's not easy to keep momentum and have that that belief that we have at this point in time. We're not shying away from that we're playing some great footy, but we also know how quickly that can change. So we're going to stay locked in on week by week.
The inaugural Crows coach wrote this week about teams he had where there was that real narrow focus and they went week to week, and it hurt them almost in finals because at some point you need to flip the switch and believe that you can do something special. When will you flip that switch, do you think?
If and when there is a moment that we make finals and that round comes around, we'll definitely focus in on what needs to be done in the finals. At this point, that's not the case.
Just back to Curtin for a moment. Do you see some similarities between him and Cap in terms of
Dawson?
Yeah, just in terms of their. You talked about
Gee, I hope so.
You talked about moments with your with Curtin before, and also their versatility as well.
I guess, there are some similarities. I think Dorse came in and impacted straight away. We mentioned Showdowns. There's not many bigger moments than that. They are similar characters. They've both got incredible belief in themselves. They prioritise team, like 100%. Dan is well and truly above his age from a maturity point of view of what he focuses on and what he prioritises, and that's similar to Dorse. It's why Dorse is our captain. It was a standout that he just had a leadership to him that we knew would help our group develop. And Dan's, as I mentioned, Dan's already in a great space when it comes to how he works with his teammates and what he prioritises. So, there are some similarities.
Kenny Ruckman yesterday said it'd be nice to derail Adelaide a little bit in their run into September. Do you concur?
No, we hear again, that's the banter you hear all the time, isn't it? We heard it last year, back our way. That's what the players say, and that's what they should say. They should enjoy it. Theatre of the game is okay. Remember, I've said this a couple of times. It's okay, and I embrace it and I love it. I think it's anytime we can make the game a little bit more exciting, as long as we keep it in a place that it's not personal, it's not about family. You know, we can live with any of that, I think.
So in the spirit of the game, if you win the last kick of the game on Saturday night, one last big celebration, do you think, Ken?
Yeah. I reckon I'll sneak off really quick. Really quick, but I'll take the win. If we're lucky enough to be in that position, I'd love to take the win, but I'll certainly do my best to stay out of the limelight.
Matty, is it hard to imagine, when this is 25th Showdown, is it hard to imagine Showdowns without Ken Hinkley involved?
Yeah, it will be. We had a little chat on the way in. It's an unusual feeling sitting here and knowing that your opposition coach won't be there next year. He's already made that decision, but as I mentioned to Ken, I learnt so much from him, you know, in the period of time that I worked underneath him, and yeah, it'd be sad to see him go.
No.
But the next bloke, the next bloke coming in is more ruthless anyway. So
yeah, he's a bit more aggressive.
We'll see how Joshy goes.
I was just going to say, conversely, Ken, I mean, Matt's spoken about your influence on him, but how have you seen his progression as a coach?
I'm just so lucky that I've had a chance to work with Nicks. He was one of the very first ones I spoke to when I first got the job. I actually was begging him to stay in some ways, and I didn't really know him. I remember I rang you on the phone from Queensland, so we need to keep you, all the stuff that you want to do as a coach. And to his great credit, he'd done nothing but support me in his time with us. He went on and created his own career with some courage, and I've just admired the way he's had to be as resilient as he's been. And I'll still have a Showdown connection, won't I? I'll still look at Nixie coaching, I'll look at Josh coaching, I'll look at Port playing. I still enjoy the opportunity to watch a Showdown, but he should be so proud of what he's done, and to be as strong and as gutsy as he's been, I reckon, over the last few years. It'll hurt me to say I'm glad to see him doing well.